Wichita, Kansas cash offer options. I wanted to go over some different ways that you as a seller may be looking at getting cash out of your home, or an cash offer for your home, and some of the different ways you can go about that. Before we get into all that, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff that goes into growing this channel and supporting local small businesses. But one of the first ones I want to go over is that, we do buy locally personally if it fits our numbers. I am an investor as well. I'm an agent, but I actually got started in this industry from construction, from flipping houses. And if the numbers make sense and it makes sense for you and us to do a cash offer option, I want to put that out there that I am a cash buyer and also have partners who are cash buyers as well. So if a cash offer buyer situation makes sense for you, that is an option that we do provide as well. I'll be honest, it's only like 5 or 7% of the time that it does work out. So it's not like my primary focus on everything. My primary focus is being an agent, but I do want to put that out there that we do buy houses here locally for cash to either fix them up, refinance them, flip them, what have you. Just kind of depends on the situation and the house you have, whether you're a retired landlord, you inherited a property, and you just want to be like, hey, I want to be done for cash. Or you're like, hey, I've owned this house for a long time and I've rented it and the renters just trashed it. That's a pretty common one. Or just there's all kinds of different scenarios where just selling the home for cash and getting it off your plate does make sense as an option for you. And I just want to put my hat in the ring for that we do that locally as well. It's not our primary bread and butter thing. Primary bread and butter thing is an auction on everything. And that would be a cash offer coming directly from me. Either I'd buy it with my own cash, with private money, have some type of a bank refinancing thing, like full transparency. I want to be a full, open book on everything. We're not hiding anything, pulling any tricky stuff like some of these investors and wholesalers and other options do. But I do want to put that out there that we are a cash buyer for homes. And if that is the most sense and you just want to have cash and be done with it, have it gone, that's an option we can definitely entertain for you to have you look at and see if it makes sense and that's what you want to do. So that's the first option. Second option is you can go through wholesalers. A lot of these companies portray themselves as like home buyers, and I'm not going to name any names for companies around here, but if you go type into Google and look for like home buyers, wholesalers, home flippers, that kind of thing, those guys also operate in a similar fashion where they will purchase the house cash for themselves to flip or to hold. But where the wholesaling piece comes in is they have this piece of it that says they can assign the property. And sometimes they will put it under contract with you for like 40,000 as an example, and then go sell it to someone else for 50,000 and they make the difference of the spread. We can't do that as agents. So it's called the net listing. And so if we ever come buy a house from you cash, it's coming from us directly. Or one of our partners is buying it. So I just want you to understand that how agents and wholesalers work a little bit differently, but also kind of similarly to an extent. It just has to do with the laws and what's legal and everything that goes on with there. But kind of my attitude and my approach to this is as long as everybody understands what's going on, the money's being made, and where things shake out and everybody's in agreement, there really shouldn't be an issue. I think where it becomes an issue is when there's things withheld or there's deception that goes involved, which should never be the case. And obviously you need to pay attention to the way the laws are written and the organizations and things you need to be aware of and on all that. But a lot of times these wholesalers, depending on who they are and the reputation they have, because Wichita is a big town, but it's not that big. And people tend to know if you start screwing people over and screwing them around, then that kind of tends to get found out and you get a reputation for all that. So definitely go with one of the more reputable wholesalers. That's where you're going to go. I know the temptation is to cut out agents, cut out realtor fees, but nothing's for free. And these wholesalers aren't doing this just because they're nice people. It's because there's an opportunity to run a business operation that way that they're allowed to. There's a lot of things that they can do that agents can't do, and vice versa. And I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo them. I'm just going to tell you the option of going through a wholesaler and how they work. Because a lot of times the pitch is that you don't have to deal with agents, you don't have to deal with fees, you don't have to deal with a bunch of paperwork, but you do have to deal with paperwork still. There always has to be paperwork to transact a deal. There's always potential complications and hassles that go with it. And although it might seem tempting to avoid an agent and to not have to pay the fee that the agent charges, just know that that wholesaler is making a profit, is making money off of it. And I'm not saying that's wrong. That's okay. Just understand that's a lot of how wholesalers work. And I'm not knocking the practice of wholesaling and assignment and all that. I just want the public and people to fully know how it works and what's going on with that whole situation. And it can be a very viable solution and situation because a lot of those wholesalers have cash buyers, have a buyer pool, have a list of people that could be a solution for you in order to get a cash offer in your home and get cashed out on it. So it is an option to get cash offers on your home. I just want to have full disclosure of how they completely work on everything. The third one to get cash offers on your home is auctions. Auctions is another good way to get a cash offer on your home if you're looking to sell it for sure. A lot of times they will highly encourage you to set them as a no minimum, no reserve type of an auction. And so that way you get people to show up and you get it sold for sure. And depending on the price point of the house and the situation, a lot of them do come in with cash or private money or bank financing that's the same as cash on things. Because typically how those auctions work is you got to buy them as is, where is. However, the property is and sits is how you buy it. It is a clear title, so there is no encumbrances that will follow you with that. But with auctions, there is a 10% buyer's premium that comes on top of whatever the final bid is. So let's say you got it at 50,000 or you sold it for 50,000. The seller would then get 50,000, and then there's 10% added on top of that, so $5,000, where the realtor's fees gets paid and the buyer is paying that premium. So even though the buyer is paying it, there is a cost to everything. There isn't. It's kind of this weird convoluted thing where, at the end of the day, there's always cost to everything and nothing's free. And the way the auctions are typically ran is that the buyer's premium is tacked on top of whatever the final winning bid is. We also know people will adjust their bid knowing they got to pay that 10% buyer's premium that goes with it. So if they were going to offer 55 or up to 55, they'll offer to 50, knowing they got to pay that 5% or that $5,000 10% buyer's premium. And that's where agents get paid out of the deal. If you are an agent that has a listing and let's say it's not selling and you bring it to auction, typically your percentage fee comes out of that 10% buyer's premium. Same thing with, you can still get agent representation in an auction, and you can still get, depending on the auction company, what they're offering. Typically it's your 3% is still offered out of that 10%, that they have going on with it all. So that 10% buyer's premium is where agents get paid from the situation in an auction. So that can be a solution for you if your house is getting sold, you want a cash offer on it. And that's a common place to get cash offers on your home. Also, if you're looking to buy houses, auctions can potentially be, a place to find a good deal too. You just got to run the numbers and see where it makes sense for you. So that's number 3 is auctions. Number 4 is you do have an option to list the home and only accept cash offers. Most people don't fully realize that that is an option. You can put it on the market, put it on the MLS, advertise it, market all that, and say, we're only taking cash offers. We're only accepting cash offers. So if the house is super run down, has something weird about it, something going on with it, where you're like, the only way this is going to fly is through a cash deal. So if it's like super torn up, super beat up, in a bad shape, that is an option too, that you can list with the cash only option to say, hey, we're going to market this, list it, show it, all these things, but the only offers we're going to accept are cash offers, just so that's known ahead of time on everything. And number 5 option, and this one is depending on the lender and the situation, and this one's a little trickier to pull off, but you can always rent the home and then cash out refinance from a lender, essentially. So let's say you have a house free and clear and you got it rented for $700 and you have a lender, because this is very important. You have to find the lender that will actually cash out refinance you, because there's certain lenders that will only cash you out what you have into it. But let's say you inherited a house or inherited a duplex or inherited some type of property and it's got tenants in there, and you don't necessarily want to get rid of the property. You don't want to get rid of it, but you want to pull some cash out of it and you want to get cash from that property. You can go refinance the property, where depending on the lender and the bank and the way that that particular institution operates depends on how much cash they will actually give you out of that deal. Some people will only give you like 80% of what you have into it. Others will give you 80% of the appraised value. Some of them go off of what their rent roll is. So you want to talk to different lenders, different banks, to understand how they operate and really find just a straightforward, transparent, straight shooting one. Because there's a lot of these lenders who just like pull the wool over your eyes or don't really tell you the full truth, or they're not fully transparent, and there isn't a lot of trust you can convey with them, if that's going to how they're going to operate, and they're going to put a mortgage on your property and things that go with that. Because there are ones that will give you 80% of whatever the appraised value is of everything. So instead of having all your cash tied up into the equity of that home, you could refinance it, pull it out, and you still keep the asset, but then you get the cash from the house on everything. And so that is a form of a cash offer that you get to your house when you have the bank refinance it and pull the cash out of it, but you're still holding the cash flowing asset with the tenant in there, with the renter in there, and that whole kind of thing. So that's 5 ways you can get cash offers on your house. If you do have anything that would fit locally, I'd love to look at it. I am a cash buyer myself. I want to put that out there because not many people know that, and I need to kind of be putting that message out there more to be an option on everything. Watch any of the other videos you have out here on real estate and on Wichita, and if you have anything else going on, I would love to help you with it all. Appreciate watching as always. See you later.